So you want me to look in here? Look at you.
Yeah. State your name, what your business is, your general philosophy.
A general philosophy.
Your general philosophy about whatever. That part just goes in the blog. So you
Oh, okay. Alrighty. My name is Daniel Pink. I try to write books for a living, including a book called A Whole New Mind and another one called The Adventures of Johnny Bunko and yet another one called Free Agent Nation. And my philosophy of life is practice, practice, practice. I'm in the business of sort of trying to see the world in a new way, explain it to other people in a compelling fashion, and give them, one or two hints about how they can lead a slightly better life. And so if that from time to time actually works, that's great. That's why I wake up in the morning. Well, it used to be, in A Whole New Mind, the argument is that the left brain abilities, the logical, linear SAT abilities still matter, but they matter relatively less. And the abilities that now matter most, in a very, very hard-headed way, are the right brain abilities, artistry, empathy, big picture thinking. And that's because it's really just economics. That's because in today's economy, you have to be able to do work that's hard to send overseas, hard to reduce to lines of code in a computer program, and that satisfies some of the new business strategies and demands of this very abundant age. And that means that the left brain abilities, the abilities that we typically have associated with being smart, the abilities that we typically associated with being successful in the economy, are necessary, but they're not sufficient anymore. And it's this new set of abilities, artistry, empathy, inventiveness, big picture thinking, those now are the abilities that matter most. There are two different ways to compete. One is to do different things. The other one is to do things better. And I think that you have to do both. So it's a question of on the first one, it's of constantly iterating new things. It's not simply enough. Design isn't prettifying existing objects. Design has to be about iterating new things, solving new problems, giving people something they didn't know they were missing. And then when design becomes actually adding some amount of significance to utilitarian offerings, then you have to actually do a better job than that. And I do think that of all the abilities, all of these right brain abilities, that design, which I think is one of the 6 key abilities of this new era of the economy, design is actually the most capable of being picked off by overseas workers. And what that does, that should theoretically race us to the top and make us even better at that. The other thing about design, which I think is interesting, is that I think in business today, design is not something only for designers. I really think that everybody in just about any business is in the design business, because anything that we do in this economy is the product of a design decision. When I went to buy a cup of coffee this morning, the interaction that I had, the way the line was configured, the way everything was arranged, that was the product of a design decision. When I write a book, the way I configure the book, that's a product of a design decision. And so I really think that design thinking has become fundamental to almost every profession today. And there's some dangers there, because we're doing a really bad job of teaching that at the elementary and secondary school level, and even at the high school, even at the college and graduate school level. We tend to think of design as something that only designers do. But I think that design has to become, in this economy, really a literacy that all of us have to master. So, I think that I think the kids especially are natural designers. Again, I think human beings are natural designers. We've always been designing. Design is how we solve problems. It's how we understand the world. So at some point back 5,000 years ago, 6,000, there was a human being who took a piece of flint and scraped it against rock and made an arrow. That's a design maneuver. And so I think that that's how we solve problems. I think in some ways design has been relegated to as something that is non-serious in a way, and something that is only for so-called artistic people. And I think we're leaving out a lot of talent in that way, and we're doing people a disservice. I really think that design thinking, that is solving problems in elegant ways, making people's lives better in elegant ways, is fundamental to almost every aspect of this economy.